Hi everyone, and welcome to what is part 4 of this My Team Career Mode, which is now Monaco. As you can see, we're in FP3. I've done all the practice sessions up until this point by myself, but gave the qualifying run a few goes. Unfortunately, didn't manage to complete it. So here we are, just simming, just to see if we can get the rest of our objectives and. Try and get the maximum amount of resource points. We're running on minimum, we're running on a very reduced amount, about 25% below what the default is. So the more resource points we can earn, the better we're going to be able to develop. And as long as we've got every department, regardless of the, how quickly everything's running, as long as we've got every department upgrading something at some point, then we're going to move forward quite quickly. Took a few attempts to get the actual purple there, but we did. They're not bringing in the great amount of resource points, but we brought in the maximum we can bring in. We've actually hit Team Reclaim 5 now, which is quite good. It means that after this race we can attract another sponsor, or should I say, yes, our first secondary sponsor. Just trying to looking and seeing if we can do any upgrades. Looks like we're going to do a minor upgrade for weight reduction, which will go on the car before the Canadian Grand Prix, hopefully. Did want to try and do actually an engine or ICE, but unfortunately we don't have the capacity because we're at maximum capacity for the durability. So that's it. As you can see, we've got quite a few upgrades coming before the next race in Baku, which will be quite nice. And just going to show the progress history. As you can see, we are actually just ahead of Alfa Romeo heading into qualifying. So first run onto Q1, hopefully should be able to get through. I think my qualifying, even though I failed the practice programs, I still feel quietly confident about myself during this time, as we set our first time of a 110.2, so that's not too bad. That's roughly what I'd done during the practice sessions. Thought I'd go for another run just to see if I can improve at all. As you can see, we're 0.17 down currently as we're coming to the final sector. Round the final corner, very close to the wall there, a little bit of understeer even though we're running max downforce. Coming out the final corner for the end of our second lap, a little brush with the wall there, and that probably might have cost us a little bit of time, but we're a 10th off. So as you can see, 14th place at the moment, not too bad. We are through at the moment, ahead of Tictum, which is good by 8 tenths. Quite a comfortable gap, half a second to the Alfa Romeos. I think the setup I was running was actually really quite a good setup. It was a time trial setup. I don't remember whose I'd copied from the time trial setup, but it did seem to be quite a good setup nonetheless. So as you can see at the end of qualifying there, definitely improved. I think we might have just dipped underneath the 110s. Was difficult to see, but it was a definite improvement on the lap, and as we find out in a second, once we skip, it is P13, so we have made it through to Q2. Quite happy about that, especially as qualifying is quite important around here. Tictum didn't make it, Raikkonen did, but we're half a second in front of our rival Raikkonen. And as we did 2 runs with 2 different sets of tyres, we're just going to skip now to the end of Q2. Actually looks like we're going to have about 5 minutes to go, so probably going to try and do 2 runs back to back, just kind of see if I can improve on the second run. Beginning of the first run here, not bad through Sandevot. Coming out of the final corner now, seemed to be a relatively decent lap. Charging up to the line, and it's a 195, so right into the mid 109s, which I'm quite happy about. Not particularly great out of Sandevot, so we did end up pitting. As you can see, with a minute left to go. Currently it's at P9. I'd be surprised to go if I stayed in there, especially as Ricciardo's behind me on the mediums. There's a few faster cars like Perez and Lando behind me as well on the mediums. So skipped in the session, and unfortunately it's P12, so we didn't actually drop a massive amount in the end. Perez and Norris went top. Ricciardo did go through as well, so the 3 kind of we were expecting to beat us have beaten us. On to the race.
Nelson Piquet once said that driving the Circuit de Monaco was like riding a bicycle around your living room, and it's not hard to see what he means by that. There's no more prestigious a Grand Prix victory than Monaco, but also none so challenging. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco then. It's not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo and Norris, Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel and Lance Stroll, Gasly, James, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda, Ocon, Raikkonen, Daniel Ticktum and Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Russell, Mazepin and Nicholas Latifi. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So then, no grid penalties from anybody else unfortunately. Sat in P12, and yeah, it looks like the game wants me to go mediums, hards to mediums, but we're actually projected to do a medium to a soft. And even though, you know, it's Monaco, I think it was actually saying when I looked around a little bit that the 2-stop might be slightly quicker, but you definitely don't want to do 2-stop around Monaco. So we're going to take a whole bunch of fuel out. I think we're going to start with, by the looks of it, no, we're going to start off with equal fuel. Nice, really long stint on the mediums, and let's just see how well this goes for us. Let's just double check. No, I just don't want to double check really what everybody was doing, because I'm currently starting on the softs. Everybody behind me is doing the mediums, so if we definitely pit early on the softs, we're going to get stuck behind everybody and potentially waste, you know, the good rubber. So we're definitely going to start on the mediums. I want to go as long as possible and just kind of see where that drags us out. 5 red lights and we're off. It's a pretty decent start, a little bit wheel spin in third, which is unfortunate. Nice and calm and easy through Sandevot. Alonso up or inside, unfortunately he does get that place. Got Ocon behind us, but try to make sure we keep him behind there. Don't want to lose another place. Up the hill, unfortunately a little bit of contact, but we did make it through. Ocon trying to go around the outside, it's definitely not a place you want to go. And everybody's really slow, but looks like we've just about made it through. Definitely jumped Gasly there as well. Oh, everybody really slow into the hairpin there. Slight touch with Stroll, as we see, we get a warning for it. Fortunately, no damage, or at least no visible damage on the MFD.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
If you're playing on simulation damage around Monaco, that is Jeff's favourite term of phrase. As you can see, end of lap 2 now. DRS about to be enabled. Not disabled, enabled.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within
Managing to keep touch with Stroll,
and in the DRS zone.
which is surprising. Slowly dropping Gasly, but managing to keep touch with Stroll, which is surprising. Bear in mind, in A, he's in a much faster car, and B, he's actually on the softs, whereas we're on the mediums. A little bit of a cut there through Sandevot, but nothing too major. And as you can see here, we're slowly kind of keep engaged with him, but definitely being held up a little bit. So we have a little bit of a look, but way too far back to really do anything about it at the beginning of lap 7 here. Vettel's starting to pull a little bit ahead, but we're, you know, keeping touch as we come through the first sector. And yeah, nothing really came out of that. Out of the tunnel now into 7. very good. We seem to be very good under braking around the tunnel chicane. But yeah, nothing doing about it. Unfortunately, couldn't really find a way past. Here we are on lap 11 though. Shaking up for a move. We're definitely a lot closer now. We're going to go for a lunge. Yeah, we're going to go for a nice big lunge. Didn't really make the corner, but the game's kind of
nice move.
Given that to us. I guess we're far enough ahead.
The gap to the car ahead is 3.4 seconds.
So yeah, now we've got 3.4 to Vettel. Hopefully we can start closing that. I definitely think we're faster than the Astons. Here we are at the end of lap 15 now, right in the back of Sebastian Vettel. So
closed
up slowly. I think at this point we probably closed him in about 2 laps, but was just kind of stuck behind.
By 0.5 per lap.
But because we're faster than Stroll and Vettel's faster than Stroll, we've been dropping him nicely as well, which means we're kind of dropping everybody behind. Here we are, beginning of 18 now, still kind of stuck behind. Unfortunately, not much we can really do about it. Going up the hill, got a nice actual run. Can we do it? Oh, okay, that's not a conventional move whatsoever, but we have taken Vettel, and I think
nice work. That brings you up a place.
It might put us in the top 10, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember now if that's where we were. Sainz's next car up. Not actually that long now until these lot will be pitting, bearing in mind they're all on the softs, until Sainz will be pitting for his first stop, first and only, probably going on to the mediums. Here we are at the end of lap 19, and in fact he's pitted as well. So there we go, soft runners coming in.
P6, we have P6.
It's up to
Ricardo's
P6.
ahead of you. The gap to the car ahead is 7.0 seconds. They're on old softs. Perez behind. Okay, the gap behind is 3.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. The distance to the leader is 32.3 seconds. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps.
So yeah, 35 laps before we pit. We've got Perez now behind us. His car is charging. He's on much fresher tyres than what we would be, even though he's done the softs, but he doesn't have to stop again, we do. So it's just a case of really, can we get past?
Wing. It'll need replacing.
Did actually knock the front wing, so kind of just actually wanted to see, you know, how much did I actually knock it by. See a little bit of damage to there already, but there was actually no kind of visible damage, at least from this camera angle, to show that we'd, you know, done anything bad to it. So we're going to carry on. Lap 28 now. What are we trying to find out from Jeff? I'm trying to find out something from Jeff, and I've got Perez trying to go around the outside of me.
To the car behind, fourth position. You're in
And
fourth position.
we're in fourth, so a couple more people have pitted then.
To the car in front is
I think both the McLarens have
18.0
pitted now.
seconds. They're on old mediums. Perez is behind you. Less than a second separate you. They're on fresh mediums. The gap to the leader is 32.9 seconds. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps.
So yeah, we're in a bit of a Red Bull sandwich now. You know, with the filling being quite far ahead of us. Yep, so only the Mercedes and what's his face, Verstappen ahead of us now. So yeah, we're not doing too badly. Just trying to work out kind of where everybody is. Some people done pit stops, and I could hear more than just one car behind me. And also trying to see kind of where everybody else is with regards to that. So Dixon's coming through the chicane, and there's Gasly. A bit of a train behind Gasly. There's Gasly, sorry. So they're quite far behind us, but Perez. So yeah, that was kind of.
Looks like we're experiencing an ERS software glitch.
So yeah, sticking to nothing really happened now, being able to keep Perez behind, but actually now we've suffered the ERS failure, and actually we don't have any ERS. It is effectively set to none. We're having no deployment whatsoever. We're still recharging, but we are not deploying, so we're massively down on power. As you can see, very slow during the tunnel section, but fortunately it came back just in time, so that now we can start deploying it. But it was also quite nice, had a nice little bit of a recharge, which is always nice to get, especially around Monaco. The ERS can be quite powerful around here. Chasing the race directory again. As you see, everybody's gone on to, the front three have now gone on to hards. Still lapping quite quicker. Gasly's pitted as well. He was the main rival. Kimi seems to be all the way down in last place. Don't know quite what's happened to him. Ticked him on the hards to the mediums. I'm quite surprised that everybody's kind of splitting the race half and half. Mediums definitely seem to struggle a little bit. Here we are, lap 55 now though. End of our first stint. We have held up Perez a treat quite nicely. So now we're going to see kind of where we come out. Hopefully decent position. We're going to be on softs. We're going to be one of the fastest cars on the track, theoretically. So we're going to try and see if we can make use of this and actually do some overtaking in Monaco. Very, very unheard of.
Pit strategy complete.
20 laps to go. There goes Bottas. I believe that's Bottas in the Mercedes. Kind of let him through because we're being lapped.
Blue flag.
Sounds of it, Hamilton's directly behind him as well. But as you can see through this section here, we are so much faster than Bottas. Actually, to the point I nearly tried to dive down the inside. But he's so slow. Just the comparison between the two is quite surprising. So coming out of the tunnel, I'm not being held up by Bottas at all here. Didn't actually make contact with him there, diving down his inside, which was surprising because of actually
an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are no plans for a safety car
Jeff's
right now.
favourite phrase. He actually pitted at the end of this lap, so I don't think I touched him at all. I don't think there was any contact whatsoever. But as you can see, lap 57 now.
Okay, gap ahead
Purple
is
through the middle sector.
4.3 seconds.
So we are easily, surprisingly, the fastest car on track. Which is, quite nice. Trying to make sure we can take full advantage of these tyres. Tyre wear doesn't seem too bad for myself, so hopefully we should be able to stretch these quite easily. And we actually set the fastest lap of the race, 1:11.2. So we are cruising, hopefully to that extra World Championship point, as we catch up to the back of Vettel, who's not had a very good race. Couple wing changes, I think, at least one.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
As we're lapping purple in the last sector, and we take the fastest lap even further down. Halfway through lap 59 though, and Valtteri Bottas, who now I gathered had pitted, beats our time by 4:10. So unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to get the fastest lap today. Would have been quite nice to have that extra championship point. As we can see, I've got 2 warnings now already, which isn't great. Bottas had changed his wing basically a lap after I took him. So even though I checked back on the replay and hadn't actually made contact with him, I was actually a little bit deflated because I kind of felt bad that I'd cost Bottas what would effectively be the win now. But when I look back at it, I didn't actually make any contact, so I'm not 100% sure whether he hit the wall or, during editing, and needed his front wing replacing, or whether he just had a little bit of damage from a very light bit of contact. But we've now got up to the back of, I believe this is Gasly. Going up the hill now, we've got a nice decent run by the looks of it, fresher tyres, a little bit of VRS, can't seem to make the move stick. Let's see if we can potentially get a move down, a little bit of oversteer, but a nice big dive bomb after the first sector, and that is us up another place. Sainz again ahead of us. I think he might have had wing damage at the end of lap 61 here now. Thought about the inside, skipped the corner a little bit there, kind of let him go ahead, switch back to the inside now. Oh, this is not a good place to try and overtake, but do make it work, although we do understeer a little bit into him, which actually allowed then Gasly to overtake, so handed Gasly a free place. Not what I truly intended, but Bottas sets the faster lap still, beats it by about another 10th and a half. But we're now free of those two. As you see at the end of lap 62, we actually call up to the McLarens now. So I think first up is Norris.
We're catching the car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
Jeff worried about tyres as usual, even though there's no real problem with tyres whatsoever around here. Definitely faster than McLarens. Don't know whether they have any damage. But yeah, end of lap 63 now, still kind of stuck behind, couldn't really find a way past. We're quite close now, going to use our ARS, going to use our DRS. Doesn't look like Lando's got DRS either. Same place into Sandevot, skip the chicane a little bit, but the game's giving it to us. Might have given him a little bit of squeeze at the exit of Sandevot, but that is up us yet another place, I believe. Oh, here we go, lap 66 now, right on the back of Ricardo. Ooh, and a slow Williams has actually allowed us to jump Ricciardo. So this is now, I think, 6th place. We've got Leclerc ahead as George lets us by. Now we've let Lewis by because Lewis has caught us up. We've not been able to make it past Leclerc yet. So going to see if we can actually maybe get Lewis to give us a hand. As you see, he's now overtaken him. That's Tictum actually, who slowed up Leclerc a little bit and just... Ooh, I think we just about made that. Little bit of contact with Leclerc as well. Hopefully nothing majorly done.
Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are no plans for a safety car.
Jeff for the 5th time telling us about debris. I think that was probably from us with the slight contact that we made with the clerk. But yeah, end of lap 69, we're currently sitting in 5th, and here we are at the end of lap 72. I've actually managed to catch up to the back of Perez, the man we held up for so many laps at the beginning of his medium stint. Tyres have gone, definitely off for him. So hopefully should be able to start making a move on him relatively soon. Looks like Dan's had a retirement. And Vettel is out too. So 5 laps to go. Vettel and Dan are out of the race, and now, wow, so both suffered terminal damage, so that's interesting. Evidently there's been a collision between the two at some point during the race. Going to check the replay, see what happens. But yeah, 5 laps to go, right in the back of Perez, and the safety car comes out, which isn't exactly, I guess, great. Here I'm just trying to cycle through and find his Tictum. Looks like he's going quite slow already. Oh, he's had an engine and then Vettel's just driven straight into the side of him. So failing engine, going slow, and Vettel's just tried to overtake him and failed miserably at it. So yeah, safety car out, 5 laps to go.
Safety car in this lap.
Here we are then, safety car in this lap. Effectively give us 2 laps now because we have been lapped by Hamilton. So we're actually going to 77, not 78. Slight touch there with Perez, who was going a hell of a lot slower than I thought it was. And then cold tyres has also caught me out, so we're not going to be right in the back of him, as would have been ideal. But we know that we've got the better rubber, we've got the fresher rubber, or at least potentially fresher rubber. So we might be able to close him down with maybe a lap to go. Here we are, lap 77 at Sandefort. Blue flags because of Perez is actually trying to be let Verstappen past. We're going to make full use of it, round the outside, up to the inside, and that is actually, we have taken 4th place. So Perez trying to let his teammate through, because now that's Verstappen right on my tail, and Bottas, which we're now letting through, has actually cost him 4th place. Very slow out of Sandefort, and we took the opportunity that we could up the hill, and that is going to be 4th, because the 1st, 2nd and 3rd are directly in front of me, but a lap ahead. So we're going to come out of the final corner now, little touch with the wall. Hamilton wins the race, and we're come through
got 2 laps of fuel left
to claim a very surprising but very deserved 4th place.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And a nice driver of the day, not surprising though.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So yeah, kind of unfortunately, I think I kind of cost Bottas the win there, but no, I don't think I made contact with him when I checked back through editing. I don't think I made contact with him. So yeah, Hamilton wins from Verstappen and Bottas, another Hamver-Bot result.
Let's review the drivers' standings. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to James. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula 1 action. I can't wait to see what's next.
So yeah, 3 races in and we actually have our first points. Very happy with that. Monaco was always going to be a good place to strike. Good qualifying always helps set that up. Shame about Dan, but you know, these things happen. He was retiring anyway, and it's a shame Vettel kind of took himself out of the race.
Really seemed to enjoy that. It made it look easy.
It was relatively. I mean, the strategy definitely helped, but
it wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
No, but you know, that's kind of a track question.
Well, that's
the bottom one is definitely the easiest one to not, you know, lose any morale. Lose any rep. We want to try and build our acclaim as quickly as possible. Beating Kimi 4-2 now, an extra couple points, extend that advantage. As you can see, we're now definitely team acclaim 6, which means we're gonna
been super infuriating.
Add.
We should focus on upgrades to our powertrain. That should help reduce the likelihood of faults like these cropping up again in the future.
So I mean, it was frustrating, but I guess in the end, it's, you know, it's not cost us anything, especially around Monaco. As you're going to see now, going to kind of look through all the different constructors. We've only got these ones available to us, so you know, checking which sponsor's kind of going to do us the greatest. Not great at qualifying, so definitely not going to go for that one. Dan hasn't been consistent, so we're definitely not going to do the no team. 5 practices during easy. That's quite an easy one to do. You know, those last 3 definitely quite easy to do, but don't offer that high of reward. 10 laps, you know, it doesn't do that good for income or anything else like that. So we're actually going to go with, seems as we've been besting Kimi during the races, I think we're going to go with Salve here. One of the highest, not quite the highest, for gold bonus and weekly income. Just checking the other one there, definitely not going to go out of qualifiers, so we're going to outrace Kimi Räikkönen. And that's going to be our sponsor. And it's also going to be it for this episode, so make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the race. Very surprising result, but very happy, and I'll see you next time.